Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? What's going on? I have a great show today. Welcome to the Making Better Track Show. My name is KaleafWins. I'm joined here today by Marv4MoBeats. But as we always do, let's get into the topic and let's go and introduce the man right. Marv4MoBeats, aka Marvin Gillespie, has been producing music for over 17 years. Coming from a family of musicians and singers, he started out playing the drums at the age of 4 and going on to play for his family church at the age of 9. He started off real early. That's what's up. He played with various second-line bands, New Orleans-style bands around New Orleans. At the age of 17, Marv put down the drums to become a disc jockey, otherwise known as the DJ. Starting at high school dances to DJ at 2 of the hottest clubs in New Orleans. Marv had to gain the respect. He put in his dues and put in the work and recognitions as one of the main DJs in New Orleans, working alongside his mentor and friend, Charles Leach, aka DJ Captain Charles, for 5 years. In 2006, he started his production company, Marv4MoBeats Music, and he's the owner of the #1 site of Christian producers and DJs, Marv4MoBeats.com. That's in the description, and he also is a host of his podcast. He's also a great sound designer. Check out his Marvelous Loops Volume 1. Check out his marvelous drums on his website, Marv4MoBeats. But now we got to give it up to the man right now. Everybody, give it up.
Yo, what up? What's up, brethren?
What's up? What's good? The topic of today is why your iPad can be a production powerhouse. I'm here with Marv4MoBeats. What's up, my brother? What's up, my brother? What's up? We are live, and everybody watching, there's gonna be mistakes because we live. It happens like that. Anyway, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
All is well, man. I'm honored to be on your platform. I appreciate you, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad.
Thank you for being here. And I know, like a lot of other producers, you are the producer, and I got to give you your props right now. You are the producer that convinced me that my iPad is enough. Like a relationship, my iPad is enough. I don't need to spend thousands of dollars on outboard gear. I mean, when I didn't have my MPCs, because we all go through the transitions. When we have gear, then we sell gear. I never forget I was on Instagram. And I saw you killing Beatmaker 3, and I was like, nah, that's cat.
Yeah.
I was like, he made that in a piece of software and then threw it in the iPad. But then the way that you constructed the tracks, it made it producers. And again, I talked to a lot of my producer friends, like, nah, he ain't doing it on the iPad. Yo, he's killing on the iPad. Year 1, then year 2. Then after all of the work that you put in with the beats that you made on Beatmaker, you made it a viable production tool for not only hip hop producers, but like R&B producers and a whole bunch of producers. You were the first, in my eyes and a lot of producers' eyes, who really freaked the iPad. Tell me, how did you meet with all the musical background you had and all the experience you had, especially as a DJ, and I'm a DJ myself. When did you realize that the iPad was a viable tool for you?
Well, man, I started on the iPad. I'm safe to say it's probably about 2010. And I remember going just being on YouTube. I was surfing the YouTube channel, and I seen one of my hometown producers, Manny Fresh. Was looking at a video that he did, and he was using the iPad. And when I know Manny. I know Manny. I know the equipment. Manny is a hardware dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the original 808 machine. I remember when Manny would do concerts, when Cash Money was starting out, I would see Manny bringing his drum machines to the club. So he's a hardware dude, right? So when I see
to the club,
man,
that's
man. When Manny would do when he would do a DJ set, or if Cash Money, when they first started out, they was performing. He would bring in his 808 and link it in. You know what I'm saying, with his whole DJing set. So I know Manny was a hardware dude. So when I seen him on a YouTube chat, on a YouTube video with Mos Def, Mos Def was in New Orleans. He was at the House of Blues, and after the show, Manny and Mos went to the studio, and lo and behold, Manny pulled out he was the beats that we was listening to. I mean, the beats that he was playing, it was on an iPad, and it was Beatmaker 2 that he was using. And when I seen that, I was I was I was just at awe. And I'm watching a video, and I'm watching this maybe 3, 4, 5 minute video over and over and over. Like, man, how is he doing this on this iPad? What software is he using? And I remember telling my wife, I said, baby, for my next birthday, I want an iPad.
Mm.
And she bought me. She got the money together and bought me the second generation, the 30 pin iPad 2. And man, so that was where my inspiration came from, watching Manny, just killing it. You know what I'm saying? And I think what attracted me to Beatmaker 3, the setup is so much like an MPC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got your 16 pads. You know what I'm saying? It's set up like NPC, but it's a full fledged DAW. You know what I'm saying? So I remember getting the iPad. The first the as I took that mug out the box, first thing I went and did, I went to the App Store and I downloaded Beatmaker 2. And the journey had just begun. And you and I initially came from hardware to software. I started out on drum machines, um, and then I went from drum machines to Reasons 2.5. That's when I finally got into the computer world. Started out on Reasons 2.5. I went all the way up to Reasons 8 before
Mm.
I actually ventured over into the VST world.
Mm.
And so I went from Reasons to Cubase and VSTs, and then moving to Logic, and then from Logic to Beatmaker 3. And I remember when I first started, so I understood the principles. You know, what every DAW, the language is just, the principles are the same, but there's a different language to each DAW, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a matter of me learning the language and navigating around the iPad. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Beatmaker 3, Beatmaker 2, when I would say this, man, and it's funny that you said that, me being one of the ones that have probably inspired a lot of producers, to want to go over to the iPad. But when I first started using iPad, and then started, doing vids on Instagram, people looked at me as a novelty. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a joke. You know what I'm saying? And
For
that was
real?
times, yeah, man. Yeah,
Bro,
man. That was
first of
times.
all, not to cut you off, sorry. Let me show the people watching this
Mhm.
why this ain't a joke. Let's go.
I stand behind it, I guarantee it.
Marv4MoBeats, baby, yeah.
That ain't no joke to me. That don't sound like no joke to me.
I stand behind it, I guarantee it.
How could you hate on them drums, man?
I stand behind it, I guarantee it.
Marv4MoBeats, baby, yeah.
Come on now. Come on now. That
Ooh,
down
ooh.
sound like no joke to me. Did
Man,
that sound like a joke? Listen, hard drums, great melodies, great vibe. Down sound like no joke to me. But go ahead, continue. I just have to prove
man,
my point.
I'm
Go
telling
ahead,
you, man.
continue.
I mean, now that I look. Let me tell you, I got a I got a partner of mine named Knox Squad. Machine doc. I forgot the name of his website,
Man,
but
everybody know Knock. He's hilarious.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
So Knock is heavy on the machine, right? I remember Knock texting me. Either he texted me or he wrote a comment on one of my vids. He said, "Bro," he said Apple should give you a percentage, because I guarantee you people have bought iPads on the behalf of you,
Well, let me prove that
right?
point right here. Big shout out to Beats by Lonza said, "Oh yeah, Marv is a beast." I want to say it's one of the reasons I got on the iPad.
Oh
Look at
wow.
that.
Praise
You
God.
just said that the
Wow.
comment came through. Okay, continue, brother.
Wow.
Again, this all confirmation. Where's the joke at?
Wow.
How
That's
dare they?
crazy, man.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Real quick,
Wow.
real quick. I don't mean to stop him. Again, New Yorkers, we are big cutter offerers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We like that part of me. But do you understand? And again, no meat riding, no brown nosing. How many
Yeah, yeah.
producers, especially of our age echelon, I like the way I put that age
Hmm.
echelon, you feel me? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Particularly in
yeah.
the era that grew up on drum machines, have literally, realistically, and positively been inspired by you posting those videos. Take a second, brother. Real talk.
Yeah.
If
You
nobody
know,
ain't give you your flowers, I'm gonna give it to you right now. You've inspired a ton of us, parents
yeah,
who have the kids in the
man,
stroller. Pull out the iPad.
let me, I'm gonna tell you, man, if, just even what you're saying inspired, that's you know, Warren G is somebody that he's a friend of mine. But Warren DM'd me and was like, yo, I like what you're doing on the iPad. We need to link up. You know what I'm saying? And and I've been blessed enough to be like a personal sound designer for Warren G. But
That's
it
what's up.
started with the iPad. It started with the iPad. Beats by Jay Black, the finger drummer. I started him, he was intrigued by my videos and started, and purchased an iPad and started using BeatMaker on a, of seeing what I was doing. DJ Battlecat, he was another guy that was,
Oh my
I
God,
guess
another goat.
he was amazed that, that I guess because I make samples too. So I guess he was intrigued that, like I think maybe Battlecat was just intrigued because of the samples, but when I expressed to him, hey, all this is made on the iPad, it's just, it intrigues producers. But, like I said in the beginning, man, people would clown me, man. And there were times where I would like feel shame about it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't really want to tell people, but man, something something deep down inside of me said that, you know what? I'm not going to worry about what people are going to say. I'm going to prove to the producer community, to
Mm,
the few people that follow me, that using an iPad for production is more than a sketch
mm.
pad. You know what I'm saying? And what happened, man, I just kept on trucking with it, kept on going at it, kept on using it. And then I used to, I used to be a big I used to buy a lot of kits from machinemasters.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so when I was a big Booney Mayfield fan. So when
Oh
Booney
man,
started putting
remember
out all the
Booney? Booney was the
yeah,
man.
Booney putting out the Booney tunes and putting out the samples and stuff. I would be going by them joints. And what I was doing, every time I would make a beat using one of the samples I bought from Machine Masters, I would tag them. You know what I'm saying? And in the beginning, they would just give me a little like or whatever. And then, before you know it, AG or Billy Blast, they'll respond, be like, yo, that was tight. And then I eventually would get a repost, right? And then what happened, AG, the owner of Machine Masters, he reached out to me and he was like, yo, man, I see that you come to the site a lot and I love what you're doing. How would you like to come and work for us? And I'm like, that's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna pay me and give me all of the kits? I'm like, yes. So when I first when I started out with Machine Masters, uh, and I would say this, it was all calculated in a part of the plan. And by no means do I want to even say that I was just using Machine Masters, because if AGN would have hired me or not, I still would have, been a customer. You know what I'm saying? But I just knew, okay, if I can get on their platform and get under their muscle, I can present the iPad in such a greater way. So when I started out working for MachineMasters.com, I started as a reviewer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would review the kits. You know what I'm saying? They would send me the new kits. I would do the review, and I had the privilege to use my iPad on a machine based website. You know what I'm saying? The name of the website is machinemasters.com, but I'm using the iPad. You know what I'm saying? And what AG, and shouts out to AG and Billy Blast, man. because them guys, they, me being able to work in their vineyard, man, really helped me, you know what I'm saying? And I really enjoyed the time that I was with the company. And what AG, what he was doing, he was cornering the market for as tutorials and stuff. So he might have had one producer that was on the MPC, had two producers on the machine, had one producer on Logic or whatever the case. And then I came in and I did the iPad. So I started out doing the reviews. Then AG was like, hey man, let's do like a mobile tip Tuesday, where I would come in and do, tips on the iPad, bringing attention to it. So again, I'm on this big platform, building this niche, right? And then I went from mobile tip Tuesdays to mobile remake Tuesdays, where I would go in and remake bangers. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to say like the first video, the first remake I did was In the Club, which is it got to be almost to 1 million views on Machine Master's channel. I would go in and do all these major remakes and stuff. So, I built up my chops like that. And then I was doing the sample pack Saturdays, you know what I'm saying? Where Billy would send me he would send me like 5 different samples, and then I would chop them up, make beats out of it, whatever I picked. But it was all done on the iPad. So by that time, by that time, you know, I had started to get some momentum, and start building some traction around this iPad. So what happened, people start to take notice, and the owner of Beatmaker 3, Vincent, he actually reached out to me. He
Wow.
was like, "Yo, man, the owner of Into a Beatmaker 3, he reached out to me and was like, man, bro, you taking our software to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? Um,
But
so I built a relation.
hold on.
Hmm.
I'm not to cut you off, but again, I said that 15 times. Because you said you've described so much of a fire journey. I went from
Hmm.
Reason this to Logic this, came from
Hmm.
hardware. You were a musician at this age, DJ at this age, and then it
Hmm.
led you to beat making. Then you said, you know what, I was feeling kind of like ashamed, and people would try to
Hmm.
clown and try to say this, to the point where the owner of Beatmaker 3, the app and tour, says you're really
Hmm.
taking this to new levels, to the point where
Hmm.
legends like Warren G and DJ
Hmm.
Battlecat, two
Yeah,
of my
man.
top 5 favorite producers ever, reached out to
Yeah.
you. Look at how your gift made room for you. Have you ever just
Yes.
sat back and said, you know what? One Manny Fresh video that inspired me, someone from my
Hmm.
hometown great inspired
Hmm.
me. I used my
Hmm.
gift, I put it out into existence, and legends and software developers contact you. Have you ever sat back sometimes and said to yourself, yo, this is crazy? Like,
Man, man, leave. Let me tell you, man. I do ponder it. You know what I'm saying? I do sit back and just think about the goodness of the Lord, because I mean, even the scripture said promotion comes from God. You know what I'm saying? There's no way I could make none of it up. You know what I'm saying? It is a blessing when you think about it. But I ponder it. I'm grateful, but I always tell producers that, or people that reach out to me, you know what I'm saying, I just continue to grind like I just started, man. You know what I'm saying? I have a tendency, I have a tendency to just like to stay low to the ground and keep it moving, you know what I'm saying? Because I still got mortgage, school tuition, all these
amen.
things, you know what I'm saying? So
Amen.
I
Big Spot Lonza said, amen. Digger Hurts
yeah.
says, big shout to Digger Hurts, big shout to Memphis. Marv be getting busy.
Oh, that's
Almost made
that's
me
my
get,
guy.
yeah, that's the
That's
homie.
Dig. Yeah, man. Me and
Y-
Dig.
y-
I'm from Memphis too. Me and Dig follow each other on Instagram. That's
I
my
just did
that's
it.
my that's my
I
Memphinian brother.
I had a great a conversation with Digger Hurts in the interview, a great conversation with Beat Spot Lonza. Like, again,
Yeah.
this ain't no mistake, but you're right. God will bless you, make room for you. But even
Yeah.
though you stay low and keep firing, a lot of times when it comes to producers, especially our mental health, and especially when the
Hmm.
bills are hitting, and especially we're family men,
Yeah.
it's not reading your own press. It's kind of like thankful for the testimonies of achievements. And a lot of times, the
Right. Right.
producers, we get so into our head, we get so into our internal hustle
Hmm.
culture that
Yeah.
we're like, yeah, I did that next, I did that next. But no,
Right.
brother, I'm not here to say, oh my God, Marv is the greatest. I'm here to say, you said I came to prove a point that this
Yeah.
iPad is not a sketch pad. You said I have a gift. I'm going to use it and I'm going to show the
Yeah.
world. You showed the world, and now again, these are legends. These are software developers. You got to sit back, brother. I'm sorry, and just say, you know what? Thank you, God, for opening those previous doors. Thank you, God, for those pieces of encouragement to keep me going on
Right.
to my next goal. Because a lot of times
Yeah.
as producers, we are in the worst perfectionists of all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. We are. And man, let me tell you, man, I just recently, maybe about 2 months ago, just started doing therapy. You know what I'm saying? I go see a therapist every Thursday. And one
Congratulations
thing
on
my
that.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. I highly recommend it for brothers of color. And I would say I highly recommend it for producers too, because most of us are introverts, you know what I'm saying? And we are always we always in a creative mode, and our minds are always, on the go. And what tends to happen sometimes, we can be our minds are always creating, and then on top of having a family, and then on top of trying to, take care of your family, you forget about the self-care, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one thing my counselor told me. He said, man, if one of the first thing actually he told me this in my first counseling session. He said, man, the greatest commandment God said is to love thy neighbor as to love God with all your heart and body and soul, and then love your neighbor as thyself. And my therapist said, he said, man, people, we tend to forget, or we tend to overlook, how can we love our neighbors if we don't love ourselves? You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
bar.
We tend to, we habitually, you know, put our families before us, in which, that's a good thing. As men, you know what I'm saying? We always looking out for our families and stuff. But man, it's like, it's hard for me to really love my wife if I don't know how to really love myself. You
Bro,
know what I'm saying?
you hitting
And
it deep right here. You hit
yeah,
all,
man.
you like really hit my chest with some facts right now.
Yeah. And another thing that my counselor told me, my therapist told me in the counseling session, he was like, sometimes, man, you know, he was quoting scripture in Psalms, I want to say Psalms 139, where it talks about when David, um it might have been, it probably wasn't David, but it was the psalmist, and he was saying how God want us to be able to rest and enjoy the fruits to enjoy the fruits of our labor. And you know what I'm saying, I know I'm paraphrasing scripture. I hate to paraphrase the scripture and don't remember the address, but just in layman terms,
Yeah, I never heard that
sometimes.
before. That's low key fire.
Yeah.
Paraphrase that don't know the address. That's hilarious. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. But just in layman terms, it's just basically said, sitting back, resting, and being grateful for what God has blessed you with. And you know, I had a friend of mine that tell me this a while back. He was like, man, you know, people don't realize that, you built your house on, beat money, you know what I'm saying? Making beats and stuff. And and like I say,
Hold on.
I'm learning
That's a
to.
bar. I built my house off of beat money. Do you know how inspiring that is? Like, if I were you, and
Yeah,
pardon me, that's my 10-month-old in the background for those.
yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
live, by the way. This live, everybody.
yeah,
I'm a family man, everybody. I will put
yeah,
that on a plaque in my studio. God bless this studio to build this house off of beat money. Like, just an idea. Because to
yeah,
me,
yes.
that's a fire plaque that you walk into your studio. This house was made off of beat money. So anytime you get
Ye-
discouraged, because like you said, producers are introverts. Like you said, we have this next mindset. It's like we have
Yeah,
formatted our minds to next session, next session, next session without enjoying the
right.
present of the current session.
Yeah,
and
man.
it's a
Every day.
factory mill.
Yeah, man. Every day I'm telling you, man. Every day I walk in my house, and we was blessed to build our house ground up almost 6 years ago, and I still be amazed, like God, man, you really did this, and a part of that, and a lot of my income came from making beats and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes around the Grammys and stuff, and I've been nominated for a Grammy and Stella and stuff, but I always when I pull up to my house is my Grammy. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
When
Facts.
I pull up to my nice size house, that God was able to bless me and my wife and my kids with. That's my W, man. You know what I'm saying? And
Well, let me ask
but
you a quick.
I'm
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go
Continue.
ahead. Now, I
No,
was
go
just
ahead.
saying, man, that I just wanted to say, I am learning to just sit back, man, and just really just think about what God has done over the years. I just by nature, man, I just keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and I think it's when when I have people like Warren G or Battle Cat reach out to me, and then they leave me their number, or you get DJ Jazzy Jeff, he DM you and be like, yo, man, you killing it. Those be confirmations that I'm in the right place. You know what I'm saying? So I am beginning to learn to just, enjoy what the gift that God has given me. But it's a process, man, because I keep on trucking, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just keep on trucking and just try to stay low to the curb. You know what I'm saying? When you stay low to the curb, you ain't got too high to fall. You dig?
I get it, and I get it because I'm not about tooting our own horn and staying in that. But brother,
Yeah.
the self love comes in the love of the creation. If you love since you love the creator, not if, since you love the creator, here's an
Yeah.
idea. I'm a social media manager by trade, literally. And if I was sitting in front of a client and they told me what you just told me in
Mm-hmm.
terms of self appreciation, I think one
Mm-hmm.
day a week, just one day. I don't know if you did it
Mm-hmm.
before. You should just have your own beat listening sessions live streamed. Why? It gives you the opportunity to hear your previous hard work. And us producers, when we listen to our old beats, oh, I should have tweaked the snare like this. Oh, I should have did this to the bass
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a time
Yeah.
for self-abuse. And literally, it's a time, it's kind of like your meditation time. Let me play these
Yeah.
joints and have a good time, listen to them,
Yeah.
have everybody listen to them and chime in, and just live
Yeah.
free in what you created. Because a lot of times as
Mm.
producers, it's like we make, we make, we make, we make, we make, we make. We send out, we send out, we send out. Email, follow up. Who am I following up with this? Did I post this video? Edit the video to
Right.
post it the most, and it's
Yeah.
like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Versus
Right.
once a week, all producers, you primarily, and big up the Gigahertz, big up the Lonze,
Mm-hmm.
everybody have a listening session like you're in the
Mm-hmm.
recording studio and just
Right.
play your tracks in the live stream and talk over it. And all
Wow.
producers
Yeah.
watching this should have their stuff copyrighted. You have this stuff content ID. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
and just let it enjoy and call it the listening hour. Why it
Wow,
gives
man.
you a
I
chance
I
to just
never thought of
appreciate.
that.
Think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And as a social media manager in my career, I always I tell the producers of different brands, every industry has their status quo of how they operate business, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no
Mm-hmm.
matter what business you're in, we're in an even playing field when it comes to social media. So when it comes
Right.
to when I talk to producers, I always tell them, like, listen, you have a time when you make the beats, you have the time when you're with your family, you have the time when you do business, whether you do production, production and engineering, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
one day a week, the shop has to be open. Growing up as
Mm-hmm.
DJs, you and I grew up as DJs.
Mm-hmm.
We play clubs, we play events, we play parties. But what about that time when we got our set, we in our living room, tell our friends, yo, come over, I'm about to go on the barbecue, whatever like that, and we just play music for our friends. That freeing feeling of just
Yeah.
playing for your friends,
Yeah.
that feeling, that
Yeah.
can
Yeah. Yeah.
transition to having your own production listening party that you live stream. This is
Mm.
great for four reasons. The number one, relaxing and enjoying what you've created and actually
Mm-hmm.
enjoying without critiquing.
Right.
Two, exposure, because a lot of times, again, I have a 10-month-old son. This is live. Anyway, he's in the background.
Right.
And mind you, my wife's with him for all the creeps
Mm-hmm.
out there saying, why is he crying? No, my wife's with my son. All right. No
Right.
big deal.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? But
Right.
it's the second reason it's great. everybody probably didn't hear the beats that you had on your your screen, because a lot of times we post beats from like 3 months ago, last year, whatever like that.
Hmm.
That's an opportunity for either sales or licensing agreements or single licensing deals. Third, you never know who pops up in your, because that's how we met. You
Right.
pop up in your live stream, an artist quick will come up there.
Right.
Ninth will pop up. You bring
Right.
him up, and it'll create more discussions. And fourth, and most importantly, give you an opportunity to work with younger or older or any new artists who
Yeah.
probably never even considered it. And everybody does this every day: thumb swipe, thumb swipe, thumb swipe, thumb swipe. But if you
Yeah.
have a day that's set for your listening session, there might be artists that missed it a month ago, but they
Yeah.
were like, "Y'all heard about this listening party," and they might go there, and that's money that can occur from that weekly session. And now for all the producers, we always have what I call the enemy hater that tries to go on
Hmm.
the air. I ain't got time for that. I gotta do that. I got time for that. Listen, for anybody who says they ain't got time for that, ask yourself, how much time do we throw away scrolling to TikTok? Right? Like at
Man,
least a
we
half an
do.
hour. At least half an hour. So why don't we take that half an hour or that 60 minutes and have our listening party session? That's just KaleafWins, social
Wow.
media manager tip of the week for anybody out there. And if
Man, that's
anybody,
good.
wants my services, hit my link in bio. But that's not about me. It's about Marv4MoBeats. So, all right, real
Yeah.
quick. Now, you said you Grammy nominated,
Hmm.
a Stellar Award nominated as well.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is what I'm going through in my mind. What was your first in-person studio session when you brought your iPad to the studio session? Who was the artist? What was it like? And what type of butterflies was in your stomach when it came to get down to work with an artist and you just had your iPad with you?
Um, Let me see, man. Uh,
And did you have the jitters? Like you had the jitters when you brought your iPad to your first studio. It's like it was no nothing, just your iPad. And that was the powerhouse of a live session.
well, let me break it down to you. So, I used to. They have an event called South by Southwest in Austin,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every year, and I was privileged to do a producer conference 2 years in a row doing South by Southwest. It was an unofficial event, but I had a venue and everything, and I was able to do it. Uh, I've the my first in person, and it wasn't a studio. It was actually at the conference, but I had one of my favorite MCs to come and so if for those that may be familiar, machinemasters.com used to do this series called On the Spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where
I remember.
they would bring a producer in, and then they would bring an artist in, right? And the producer make the beat on the spot, and then the artist would go jump in the booth and do a 16. So what we did at the conference and Machine Masters, the second year I did it, the company, they sponsored it, so uh, it was a Machine Masters and the Showcase producer conference together. So we did the On the Spot series live at the event, and I was able to have an artist, MC by the name of Eshawn Burgundy, to
Oh
come
wow.
in.
That's
I
a
was
classic name. That's a
Yeah,
classic artist. Go ahead.
Eshawn. He's originally from Philly, but he's been in Africa for him and his family has been in Africa, but I think he's back in the States now. But anyway, I was able to get Eshawn to, you know, literally sit there and write a 16 to me making a beat on the spot, man. And, you know, and I think that was a highlight. I wasn't really nervous. I think I was more nervous because I'm in front of like 100, 100 other people that's in the crowd watching me make this beat, you know what I'm saying, with Eshawn sitting next to me. But he was amazed, like, yo, you on the iPad? I'm like, yeah, this is it, bro. We about to go. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought that was a good experience. I haven't had many in the studio sessions where I had to like come to. Everything has been, online and stuff. So that was the first time where I had to really be in front of not just the artist, but in front of a crowd of people making the beat live, you know what I'm saying? And we had a time frame, to knock it out. So he had to write write a 16, and I had to make a beat. You know what I'm saying? Within like a 20-minute span. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's when you thank God to that good old what? That good old production muscle memory. You know, because
Yeah,
every producer got it. Like
yeah, yeah,
me
yeah, yeah,
on Ableton, you put Ableton in my lap with no MIDI controller. I'll bust a
yeah.
beat out in 20 minutes because why? That's 10 years of muscle memory. You
Right.
put me with a MK2 machine,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
muscle
yeah.
memory. You put
Right.
me in front of Logic Pro, muscle memory. But with you with the iPad, muscle memory. Because like you said, when it comes to having an iPad as your workhorse production station, it's all the same tools as any other DAW, but it's just a different language. And what I remember from Beatmaker 3 is, hey,
Yeah.
I got my kits loaded up. I
Right.
got my favorite VSTs in my template. I got my effects. So for those who don't know, and I want to ask you this question: what's your
Hmm.
top 5 go-to iOS instruments, and then what's your top 5 go-to iOS effects? Because there's maybe people watching this who've never used an iPad for a production. They only use DAWs, and this may be foreign to them. What are your
Yeah.
top 5 iOS instruments you use with Beatmaker 3 to make tracks, and what are your top 5 effects? And I guarantee you MXX audio is probably one of those effects, but we'll leave that there.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well. I like. I do. Shout out to my man Mike over at MXS Audio. My man M Simp. Um. If I'm honest with you, the effects is not in my top five. All right. Right. So let me start off by saying that. But I do use it from time to time. But let me tell you, I'm looking at my iPad right now, and I'm gonna tell you my first my five top five go to um
Instruments.
plugins, my AU3s, and just for clarity, the language for iOS, it would I will put what you call VSTs in on the computer, we call them AU3s.
Mm-hmm.
AU3 plugins is equivalent to a VST, right? So I will start off by saying that my top five would be uh a go-to plugin is called the BX. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you right now. Make sure I get that
Is that the
information.
Oberheim?
No, 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 no. It's the BX16i. It's called a Bismarck BS16i. And what that plugin is, it's a rumpler, meaning it's a VST. It would be like an Omnisphere, right? But what I like about the BS16, I'm able to upload sound fonts. And
Oh,
yes, and I have a lot of sound fonts that I've collected even back from my Reasons days that I'm able to upload in there. You know what I'm saying? There's some particular horns that a particular one particular choir that if you listen to any tracks I have on my Instagram, there's a particular choir sound that I use. It's actually a sound fund that I've had from years ago. Certain horns and stuff.
let me ask you a
Um,
question. I'm sorry. Can you
uh-huh.
organize your sound fonts in that iOS app by category?
Uh, you know what? I'm sure there's a way to manage that. Um, I don't get that technical. You know what I'm saying? I just go in and upload them and then go search for them. You know what I'm saying? And like you
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, it tends to be muscle memory. So when I'm going for that sound, I tend to know where to go at. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
And
So
it's the BS.
it's the BX16. It's called a Bismarck. It's called Bismarck. BISMAMARK. BS16i.
I'm gonna have to check
And
that out.
yeah, and it allows you
You
to
about to get
upload
you get
sound fonts. And
you
I
get
got
me to
like
get my
all of
iPad out. I'm about to
yeah,
literally get my iPad out and just start saying,
yeah, yeah,
"Go
yeah.
ahead, brother. Go
And I
ahead."
mean, and I've got like all of the
Oh, I got
emu
you. Sound fonts.
modules, the modules, the sound fonts, like the Preotis and stuff, and the emu fat, MoFat and stuff. So all those sound fonts, I mean, I got all these different instruments from back in the day in that one plugin, right?
So the
And
Bismarck
then
is
and honestly, I can get away with just that one plugin in Beatmaker 3 and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I could get busy just with Beatmaker 3 as my DAW and the
The Bismarck.
BS16i as just my plugin that I run that I'm using. So that would be my first one. The second one would be, which is pretty old school, but I like using this iSample Tank by IK Multimedia.
Oh yeah, that's
And
classic.
the only thing that sucks about the sample, I mean about iSample Tank, is that it's an audio app. It's not an AU3. And for those that may be intrigued about what that means, AU3s, what an AU3s in the iOS in iOS production, just okay, like BS16, I can open that multiple times in Beatmaker 3, per instrument. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to use a synth and then a bass, I can open up BS16 as many times as I want. The only difference between the Bismarck and iSample Tank, IK Multimedia haven't switched it over to AU3, so I can only use it one time.
Wow.
So my workaround is, and that's why it's a love and hate with it. I love it because it has the Philharmonic strings in it. I love it, because it has the real authentic Philharmonic strings in the plug-in. But I hate it because I hated the other reason I hate it is because I can only use it that one time. So my workaround is I will record those, I will play those strings. I have to make it into an audio. I have to make it into an audio sample, and then go back. And so if I want to do a high note, how can I say this? If I want
No,
to
you
do a
got it. I got
cello,
it, brother.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I want to do a cello and then I want to come back and add a viola and add some tremolo, so I have to go back, record the audio app, then do that. And so it's time consuming, but I just love the strings in it. So that's my love and hate number two, right?
Oh, so
So
Bismarck number one, I sample tank number two. Okay,
number
number
two.
three.
Number three would be I would have to go with the Model D by Moog.
Yeah, I
The
got the
Model
Model
D
D.
joint. The Model
Wow,
D joint by Moog.
that's some
Um,
sexy bass. Moo got some
yeah,
sexy
man.
bass.
Right. And man, and let me tell you, Leaf, I want to say this too. Uh I don't, I've been I've been one of those guys that have been um influential to the iOS community, but of course it hasn't been me by myself. You know what I'm saying? You got industry producers like Henny the Biz, you know what I'm
Yeah, Henny the
saying?
Biz. Big shout out to Henny the
Henny the
Biz.
Biz, you know what I'm saying? He's from the industry and came from hardware, and we just we became friends, just in the community. But he's been really plowing the fields with the with the iOS stuff as well. Um, and I think between me, him, and maybe a couple other guys, what I'm saying, pushing the community forward, I would be safe to say it's companies like, you got the Moogs, you got Logic and stuff, because what have happened, they've been paying attention to the growth of the community. You know what I'm saying? Who would ever thought that you had Logic on the iPad, bro?
You know what? Somebody told me that a long time ago, and I was like, get out of here. It'll never happen.
Yeah, and it happened. Shows we on this streaming today, man. You know what I'm saying? So they got some people that's paying attention. Even with Moog. Moog got about 3-4 different plugins for the iPad. You know what I'm saying? And they're authentic plugins. You know what I'm saying? Just it's the same Model D that a VST that's on the computer. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I just wanted to put that out there that you got these main companies that are paying attention. Man, I wouldn't be surprised if they would have reasons on the iPad. They've
You know
already
what?
had some. They've already had some pieces of Propeller Head in the App Store, but I wouldn't be surprised if You know what I'm saying? They would have a full-fledged out Reason software because the iPad is strong enough to handle it, man.
Especially
The
now
yeah,
with the silicone chips. Now,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Man, so Vincent over into he bought me my recent iPad, you know what I'm saying? And when he asked me what I wanted, I got the top notch, you know what I'm saying? And I got like the M2 chip joint, you know what I'm saying? And it runs circles over my MacBook. And my MacBook have like 16 gigs of RAM in it.
So
But is it
what are your specs on your iPad now? The top. What's but matter of fact, for those who don't know and those who are watching who never even considered the power going from their laptop to an iPad, what are the top specs of a powerhouse iPad production station that people should check out to invest in for their production business?
so if you got the money, I always say, you know what I'm saying, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Or if somebody gonna bless you and ask you what you want, you better go for it because that's exactly what I did. You know what I'm saying? So right now I'm running a 1 terabyte. I'm running the M2 chip. Um, and it's the sixth generation, the iPad 12-inch point nine. The 12.9, you know what I'm saying? And I always like the big screen because I like the feel of, you know, like if I'm on an MPC, you know what I'm saying? But I have the M2
iPad
chip.
Pro.
I
You
have the
got the
iPad Pro with the M2 chip.
how much
With
RAM is in that one?
I got a terabyte in here.
Of hard drive space, but of
Of
RAM.
Hold on. So right now, let me tell you. Let me see. Hold on.
Now take your time, because you educating me and everybody else watching this. Everybody, thank you for watching this. I'm here with Marv, you know, 4 More Beats right here, a legendary iPad production pioneer. Henny the Biz, big shout to Henny the Biz. Big shout to Dick Hertz in the comments. Big shout to Beats by Lonze in the comments. For everybody watching this, you can go in the description, check out Marv for More Beats. His sound packs in his store while he looks up this RAM right here, and his top three so far of his top 5 iOS plugins to utilize is the Bismarck plugin, it's the iSample Tank, and it's the Moog Model D plugin. But go
And
ahead,
I'm gonna
brother.
tell y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the rest soon as I get this here. I'm trying to download this this Geek Bench. Hold on.
Yeah, cool. But while we're waiting, I want to show everybody the power of again of how he freaks his beats on his iPad. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
Marv4MoBeats, baby, yeah.
I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
Marv4MoBeats, baby, yeah.
I stand behind it. I guarantee
Marv4MoBeats, baby, yeah.
Yo, let me go back to that one beat you made. I'm sorry, one more time. I'm sorry, that beat was
All
fire.
right.
Hold on. Let's go.
Marv4MoBeats, baby, yeah.
Oh my god. Yo, this beat.
it. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
Marv4MoBeats, baby.
Yeah, that mug was a heater. That
I'm
mug was a heater
sorry,
there.
that beat. Like, listen, I'm a New York dude. New York dudes like 3 things: hard drums being one,
Yeah,
2, fire horn melodies, and three,
yeah.
when you have the bass over the kick perfectly, what we call that kick bass marriage. And all the producers
Yeah.
watching this, when that bass is on that one with that kick and it's thumping and it's got that groove, we love it. I'm sorry, continue, brother. Sorry,
Yeah,
big shout out to Bar 4 More Beats.
man. Thank you, bro. Man, I was trying to download this app for some reason, give me some issues, but
But
it's safe to say that I'm running about 16 gigs of RAM on my iPad.
cool, cool,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
yeah.
So
So
the
she let me tell you, I gave I had the one that I had prior to this it wasn't the M2 chip. It was I forgot which one it was, but I gave it to my son. But that iPad Pro that I had prior to this one was still powerful than my MacBook that I'm streaming on right now.
but see,
You know,
let's
like
talk about it. Let again, this is the myth and the misconception. And I've been
Yes.
talking to brothers, and big shout out to Silver Days Music. He's in the chat. He's like,
Yeah, yeah.
tight, bro. Yeah, his beats is fire. Big shout out to Dig Hurts again. He said, Marvin CX, the producer, are the illest I've seen in an iPad, hands down. Listen, brother,
Thank you, man.
again, do you understand for hip hop heads, you, Handy the Biz, and a few others are the pioneering godfathers of iPad production. Now, again, I always tell people the difference between giving flowers
Mm-hmm.
and meaningless compliments
Mm-hmm.
is flowers are thank you for your contribution for adding another layer to hip hop.
Yes, sir.
Empty compliments are you're great, you're great. No, 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 brother. Forefather of production is a serious thing to producers. For instance, I grew up and I still study Easy Moby,
Yeah,
still
yeah.
study
Yeah.
DJ Quick,
Yeah.
still study Battle Cat because
Yeah.
they added what? Layers to hip hop production.
Yes.
You, Henny the Biz, and other iPad producers, there was nobody before y'all. Think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that. So back to what you're saying, which is very important. iPads are a lot of these new iPads are stronger than most laptops. Fact or fiction?
Oh, hands down facts, bro. Facts, bro. And that's let me tell you, that's the reason you have these devs, they're getting into building apps for the iPad. Cause
Mm-hmm.
they know that, man, like they going neck and neck with MacBooks. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Man, I'm telling you, man, like I guarantee you, you had that's why Logic and them came out with that's when they finally came out with Logic. That's why Mini Move tapped in. And then you got Korg. You
Oh
got
yeah,
Korg,
Core.
they come in and they taking over the game. And the beautiful thing about Korg, just as of lately, which I got to say Korg has became one of my top fives because they're turning everything into AU3s now.
And I'm not. And here's what's important, everybody. Like I got a brand new MacBook Air,
Hmm.
right? Because I don't got them big boy bucks currently. I'm gonna speak into
Right.
existence when God bless you with that MacBook Pro
Hmm.
128 gig money. But I got an Air because it
Yeah.
got the M1 chip, and the reason I like the M1 chip because it process on the old MacBook Airs, it
Hmm.
processes a bit faster, in my opinion. No,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
so when you have an AU3 iOS app, you can open it up in your MacBook Air or your MacBook Pro.
Exactly.
And people don't
Exactly.
understand that power. So your number four is the Korg iOS AU3. Which one?
Yeah. The core gadget can come up. He came up there, bro. A
Really?
core gadget can come up in there, man, because it had made it. You like I say, it made it AU3, and that core gadget has like all of these different synths and plugins in it. You have to see it to believe it. Like when you open up Korg, you can go in and you can purchase all these other synths that's within it. Actually, they got a plug in there called Stockem that allows me to open up old Rex files from
What?
Reasons.
From Reason. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. So the Rex player that's in Reasons, they have a Rex player in Gadget called Stockem, and when you open it, it looks just like I'm like, oh snap, man, we about to get Reason up in this piece. And Stockem the actual company. Reasons is in Stockem. The owners, the creators of it is in Stockholm. That's why they named the plugin Stockholm.
So hold on. This is proving your point that Reason Studios is most likely going to come up with an iOS app. I'm not
They
going to
already
hold you.
they already got the Rex Loop plugin in Core Gadget, bro.
Oh well, so all right, let's just go through in terms of their top five iOS AU3 plugins. Bismarck,
Yep,
the Moog Model D, the
yep,
iSample Tank, and
yep,
the Core Gadget. Now, what's your
yes.
fifth go to?
My fifth go to. Whew,
I mean,
let me see.
if you want to add a six because you don't want to stick one into the fifth.
Yeah, so let me so I'm gonna tell you, I would have to go with I'm gonna go with six, but my fifth is gonna be IK Multimedia, the Hammond B3X.
They got that as an iOS app.
Yeah, man. They got the Hammond. They got a Hammond B3X, and it's really a Hammond B3, but they added on the X for copyright purpose. But that mug is authentic, bro. I know some people have mixed feelings about it, but when you want a real B3, you want a verbatim organ of any sort.
Mm-hmm.
She tough. You know what I'm saying? And look, bro, you got people gigging. You got people, man. You got musicians that are
Gig,
that are that are
gigging on
gigging
main
at their
stage.
churches with their
Yeah.
iPad. Man, they set up.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you set up a interface and all that stuff. Man, people like the iPad is a part of a MD's work chain. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I mean, music directors, man, they relying on the iPad like crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a main thing. A lot of churches don't have a B3, but if you got a B3 organ on your iPad, you got a
Mm-hmm.
B3 plug-in on your iPad, and you can MIDI up everything. So dudes, they might have a nano control cord joint for the draw boards, and man, like, bro, the sky's the limit, bro. You know
Well,
what I'm
let me
saying?
ask.
So,
I'm sorry, real quick, because
uh,
that was the second question I want to ask you. You have the iPad, and when you said the Korg Nano controller, for those who don't know, that's a MIDI controller,
mhm.
the MIDI controller that you can utilize. What are your peripherals like? Pause, by the way, because I'm from New York. What are the peripheral MIDI controllers and interface that you use with the iPad in your workflow?
Okay, if unfortunately, if I had a camera, if I could have took my iPad, I could have showed you guys. But I literally have three controllers that are in front of me right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got the MPC Studio to trigger my drums. I have a complete 32 key keyboard for the keys, and then I have this nano controller here when I am either when I'm using Cubase or I've now don't get it twisted. I'm not only a client, but I'm the BM3's president for the just clowning. I am a devout B3M user, right? But I also when I have to do some recording, I use like Cubases, or they have another plugin called Aurora Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would use the nano control for is just to be able to control the faders.
Mm-hmm.
Just giving me that option where I can actually, just control the faders like if I got a mixing board in front of me. You know
So
what
to
I'm
hook up
saying?
all those interfaces, you use like one of these J5s.
So I'm using an anchor. I'm using this anchor joint, which I have. So let me tell you, I got I got three controllers, and I got one, two, three, four, five. No, not five. I got four hard drives running at the same time.
Into an interface like this directly into your iPad.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, and that's another thing. I mean, so what Apple did, this has been a few years ago. They've opened it up where now you can use your external hard drives, for your space. So for a long time, I never went out and bought an iPad because once the update came, now that you can start using your hard drives, I'm like, well, I don't need the update because I can just pull back and forth from my hard drives.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I got a terabyte now. You know what I'm saying? But I've just been so used to just having my hard drives plugged up. So I got a terabyte SSD. I got a 500 gig SSD, and then I got like a 125 um, jump drive that I'm running. Then I got another hard drive back here that I don't have plugged up. But man, I mean, like, I mean, Brad, I mean, I can't. If a person don't believe that an iPad is a actual machine, I don't know what planet you living in, bro.
Listen, don't make me
Yeah.
pull. Listen, don't make me pull up the footage. You know I like to play your beats. You don't believe that the iPad is viable, huh? Don't let me do it again. Don't let me do it
Man,
again. Because listen, that
yeah,
second beat, it touches my Brooklyn soul. Like, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, they
yeah,
can't
yeah,
say that anymore. Like you
yeah,
said, all the companies are coming out creating product. And since,
yeah.
again, I'm a social media dude, I'm a businessman, in my mind, if this was
Mhm,
my forte,
mhm,
every iOS app company
mhm,
are automatic prospective business partners. Now,
mhm,
how did you make the transition from, you know what, I'm great at production, I had a great
mhm.
time in production, I'm doing my thing, I'm DJing and stuff like that, to full-time producer where the funds, by the grace of God, built the house that you're sitting in now? How'd you make
Mhm.
that transition to full-time music producer? Because a lot of producers, it'll really bless them in information, and everybody has a different journey, mind you. His journey isn't ours, but we can all learn jewels and gems. How did you make the transition from hobbyist or to a person that sold tracks to a person that became a full-time music producer?
Well, so let me start off by let me go back to the genesis, right? So back in 2007, when production, and this was before the iPad. Before it, I started out in the MySpace days, right? And
You took it
uh,
back.
I
Oh, you
took it
took
back.
it back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I used to work that MySpace, boy. I used to have the two double screen compute. Had the double screens, and I have one page open here, one page open there. And SoundClick was big at that time, and you used to be able to embed them sound clicks into the messages, and you can have it set so soon they open it, it would go. You know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
start playing. So uh, I it started there. I remember I met a friend of mine. I met a buddy of mine that did. He used to put on concerts and stuff in his city. Back in my partner Preston, from he's in South Carolina, Beaufort, South Carolina to be exact. And they had this big tour that he helped bring to the city. And he was like, Marv, I think you ought to come. I said, I think he was like, man, I think this may be a good opportunity for you to link up, with some of the artists and stuff. And they had this big this major uh Christian hip hop record label called Cross Movement Records, right?
Oh wow, you took it back. The
Yeah,
cross movement, fam,
yeah, yeah,
ambassador, fanatic,
yeah,
and the whole
yeah,
gang.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
Civil Day said, "Wow, I'm from Sumter."
Oh wow, that's what's up. And that's not too far, I don't think. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, man, my partner Preston, so Cross Movement was doing a history tour, right? And by this time, and at that time, man, Cross Movement they was blazing, man. They had the truth, they had everyday process, they had Flame, they had JR, and all these different artists. They had a dude named R Swift. So they was just like they
You're
was
bringing back a lot of memories, brother.
yeah,
Because I
man.
remember when I was super younger, I was in an Honor and Glory video,
Word.
law in Philly.
Wow.
It was the ambassador single, I think, Honor and Glory, and my homegirl brought me to. You bringing back a lot of memories, and
Wow.
my
Yeah,
wife's
man.
my wife's old youth mentee in church
Yeah,
was
yeah.
was precise from Corey Red and Precise. You're bringing back a lot of memories, fam.
Hey, bro. I kid you not. I'm doing some work with Corey Red and Precise right now.
Stop playing, yo. I would
No, man.
literally call Precise. I was like, yo, this
Yeah,
game
yeah.
for real.
So what's happening? They got a buddy of mine that own that my pot a friend of mine, Trig. They have a radio station called Holy Culture Radio that's on Sirius FM now. They on Sirius FM channel 140. Uh, so and what Trig and them are doing, they're putting like together this compilation, and one of the tracks that Trig got from me is Corey Red and Precise. Well, I think it's
Wow.
Corey. It might be Precise too, but that's funny that you even mentioned that
Yeah,
because
small brother, small world.
yeah, man.
Small world.
Yes, sir. So anyway, Preston he brought them down. Me and my wife, I think we might have had a few dollars saved, and I was like, baby, I was like, Preston said we need to come, so we bought the plane tickets and went out there. And man, of course, man, you're out there, networking and talking with the artists and really getting to meet them. I got to meet a lot of the new dudes that have became a part of the roster. But it always kind of, in the meantime, and in the midst of that, like, hey man, I just want to give you my beat tape, man, blah blah, my beat CD, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? They be like, I'm gonna check it out, but I mean,
Yeah, we know
when
we
they
know the
tell you they're
drill.
gonna check it out,
We know
it's
the
a
drill.
it's a
It's
gamble. You know
this.
what I'm saying?
It's this, brother. Is
Yeah,
this.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Is this and is this. But go ahead.
Yes, for sure. So what happened, you know, at the end of the day, I had just chunked it up, and it was a good experience if nothing came from it at all, right? So after the concert, everybody went to the Waffle House, all of the artists and everything, that all, Swift, Ambassador, all these guys,
Hey
they
Marv.
in
Hey
yeah.
Marv. Thank you for making me hungry. I'm from New York. We ain't got no Waffle House. Thank you for making me. You made a fat boy hungry. I'm sorry for cutting
Man,
you
I'm,
off. Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
continue. Go ahead.
Wow, I'm sorry, bro.
You
Uh
got me. I instantly wanted hash browns. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So everybody go everybody headed to the Waffle House. And what happened, I was riding, me and my wife, we was riding with my man Preston and his wife Keisha, but they had another partner of mine, another partner of ours named Vernon. And Vernon was a DJ. He's still a DJ out there at the radio station in Beaufort. But what happened, uh, Vernon went by Preston House and stole one of my B CDs from Preston.
What?
Preston didn't know it. So Vernon, he's leaving the concert and he's pulling up into the Waffle House parking lot, and he had sound in his car. So what he's playing one of my beat tapes. So all of the artists that was getting out the car, they was like, "Yo, who them beats for? Who those beats for?" And they was like, "Oh," and Vernon was just like, "Oh, that's for you. That's for Marv. That's for Marv up in there." So man, and bro, so when me and my wife, we was sitting down, man, yeah, and all the artists, yeah, R Swift, yeah, Everyday Process, all these artists was like, "Yo, man, we need you to come to Philly.
Mhm.
We need look, we need that BCD, and we don't want you to give it to nobody else, right?" So so it was like, it ended up turning out to be something great, because then what happened, I started swapping numbers, um and it was a big opportunity. So when we was coming back home, I remember me and my wife, who was flying back home, I remember telling her, I said, baby, I said, if this music take off like we think it is, I might not be able to, have a full-time gig, because at that time I was driving trucks too. I was a truck driver, and so what she said. So my wife said, "Well, listen, we're gonna pray, and if this is God's will, He's gonna bring you off that job, and you can't do nothing to try to force it or anything. It has to happen genuine,
And mind
right?"
you,
So
this is pre-streaming era, right?
yes, yeah, this is pre-streaming. This is pre social media to that aspect.
Bro,
All you had,
you know what that means? That's the big producer money era. Like let's be honest.
it really was. It really was.
Lonze
It-
just said something real quick. He says, Beats by Lonze, learn me something today. I haven't even thought about using my hard drive on my iPad like that. I'm watching this on my iPad now. Great interview. My sons reside in low country, small world. See?
wow, wow, man, that's what's
You
up,
never know.
Lonzo, man. Praise the Lord, brother. Glad that I was able to, you know, man, I'm always looking to learn something every day too, man. So I'm glad I was just able to, drop that little nugget. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Uh,
you dropped brother. Listen, I get your humility. Maybe because I'm from New York. Do you
yeah.
see these people in the chat? Civil Days Music, big YouTuber. You inspired him. Beats by Lonze, great producer. You inspired him. Gigahertz in the house. So many people are gonna watch this. You don't understand. You and Henry the Business iPad producers really added to the fabric of producers.
Wow.
I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. I said this on my last show. Long time
Uh-huh.
ago, 2002. True story. I was at my HBCU. We went to another HBCU for a think tank. It was in North
Mm.
Carolina Central State. North Carolina Central, NCCU. Or I forgot the pronunciation, but big shout to all HBCUs. You feel me?
Right.
And Ninth
Okay.
Wonder did a
Salute.
Ninth Wonder did a symposium, and he was talking about
Hmm.
FL Studio and Fruity Loops at the time. And my ignorant NPC elitist, but at the time was like, nah, Fruity Loops is blah 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 blah. I was one of those. Ninth Wonder put me correctly in my place and said, you guys think it's about a drum machine, it's about whatever thing that you utilize to make it happen.
Right.
Literally, when you told me just today, oh, I really want to prove a point with the iPad to show that it's not a sketch pad. You
Right.
literally started you and Henny the Biz and all the other iPad hip hop, mind you,
Yeah.
hip hop based producers
Yes, sir.
have laid a groundwork to help other producers get inspired to know that we don't have to spend a gazillion amount of dollars on a whole bunch of
Yes.
gear with a whole bunch of
Yeah.
wires. You just
Yeah.
literally taught me something too, as well as Beats by Lanze. I didn't even think to hook multiple hard drives up to an iPad.
Man, I'm telling you. Look, it's funny you say Night Wonder because he's on my top 5. He's on my top 5 here.
Yeah.
T-shirt.
And,
But
and,
but let me
and he
let me let me
schooled me something crazy because with the story. I'm sorry. I just want to
let
add
me
that.
let me tell you that story that you sharing is what gave me the courage to say, you know what? Let's prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because before I even seen the documentary, The Wonder Years, about Night Wonder and the statement that he made, I knew Night had did what he did on Fruity Loops. It was Fruity Loops when he was using it,
Yeah.
but once he got that Grammy, it turned into FL Studios.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew the story that what he did what he did for when he did the Black album and he did the Destiny Child's joint. Similar, same story. When Knight would tell producers that people would clown him when he was using Cool
Mm-hmm.
Edit and Fruity Loops. But once they heard what was coming out of the computer,
That's why it
it,
doesn't matter.
it
It
doesn't
doesn't matter.
matter. And that's what gave me the courage to say, you know what? This is my Fruity Loop moment.
Mm.
This is my FL Studio moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won I I've had Billboard songs charting off the iPad.
You better listen. Listen. I know you humble. I'm a flex for you. Say that one more time.
Yeah, man. Me and an artist by the name of Bizzle, we've billboarded, a song, a joint, that I made on the iPad. You know what I'm saying? Bizzle is he's a Christian artist. He's one of the main Christian MCs that's out today. Very controversial.
I know. God
Uh,
Over Money Crew. I know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
believe my frat
Biz
brother
all
used to be on that label. It probably
yeah.
still is.
No, he's in Texas now. He's in Houston. Him and his family's in Houston. But I do a lot of work with God Over Money. People thought I was an in-house producer for them. I was doing so much with the artists and stuff. But you know, uh,
So from
that's who I got the Stella. That's who I got the Stella nomination with. Got the Stella nomination with Biz, and we've charted on Billboard. You know what I'm saying, and that's all on the iPad. All of my sample kits that I've created, that you can pick up on my site and
Oh no,
still on
I got
machine.
it for you. The site Marv4MoBeats.com, Marvelous Loops Volume 8, Marvelous Drums and Loops, and other great sound kits on
Yeah,
Marv4MoBeats.com. I
yeah.
got you in the plug,
And I
brother. Go ahead,
and
continue.
thank you, man. And I I still got a gang of kits that are on Machine Masters. I got well over, a collection of almost 15 sample kits. Everything done on the iPad. Everything. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm gonna label that your flex horn. Anytime you're speaking
yeah,
on how God has blessed you to utilize the tool of the iPad to create income for your family and your children in the house that was built
right,
from the
right,
iPad. That
right,
one
right.
prayer with your wife about to come off that plane.
Yeah,
I'm riding trucks. But leaving this job, it went right into the situation because you made
right.
the decision. I'm gonna go get on a plane with my wife by faith. I'm gonna pass out these B CDs, B CDs, B CDs,
Yeah.
And the power of friendly theft
Yeah, yeah,
led to
it
the
was,
opportunity.
man. Like, that's one time where I would applaud somebody for stealing. You know what I'm saying? Because when Vernon played that B CD, man, it just went. They was just like, man, we need to connect, we need to connect. And man, just going back to the story. So what happened? You know, me and wifey was like, hey, if it's God, the job is going to let you go, and it's going to be beyond your control. So what happened? I remember going back to work, you know what I'm saying? And we just and let me tell you something, man. That's a fate walk, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, by the time we got kids and everything. So, I mean, I wasn't just, gung ho, it had to be I had to have a confirmation. So what happened, I remember drive that particular day I was driving a water truck and I was getting ready to leave a job site to go to another job site. And what happened, I remember now, and if anybody, if you ever seen a water truck, some water trucks sit very high. Like the water truck I drove, like you had to climb all the way to like stairways to heaven in that
Mhm.
mug. It was set so high, and I can't remember what the building was, but there was a brand new hydrant that I couldn't see. So when I put the truck in gear and going forward, I hit a fire hydrant. It wasn't no water came out, but I bent it, but it was brand new. So I get out the truck, look at it, call it in, report it, call my supervisor, had to go take a drug test and stuff. And he was like, well, man, just come on back to the yard or whatever. So I'm like, all right, well, man, I've seen truck drivers do worse. So I'm sure they're not gonna fire me for that. So I remember when I came in, and my supervisor's name was Harley. Harley said, he said, Glaspie, man, he said, bruh, he said, man, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm gonna have to let you go, man.
Wow.
It went all the way up to the chain, went all the way up to the head, man, and I just ain't have no say so in it. So I was like, man, Lord, are you for real? So I remember calling my wife, and she was like, I can't talk right now. I'm in class. I said, I just got fired. And then I think my wife said, praise the Lord, I'll talk to you later. And I mean, I just drove on home. You know what I'm saying? And so what I did, so let me tell you, so I started doing music production. I did music production 7 years straight, full time. Right,
Mm.
I did that full time 7 years from 2007 to 2014. And in that time, man, I was going to different events. Uh, I was blessed to land some big projects. You know what I'm saying? Some one song in particular, me and an artist by the name of R Swift, we did a song, we did a remix of a song called Awesome God.
Mhm.
Awesome God is like a big, it's a big Christian song. Our God is
Dun,
awesome,
dun,
God will
God.
reign.
Yeah.
So we did
If y'all grew
we
up in church, y'all know what that melody's like, but go ahead.
yeah, so when we flipped it and made it like a down south joint. And today, and even today, over to today, man, I just happened to just be looking at it. I was looking at online. That juggle is way over 1 million views, and it had been on MAA boxes, and walked out on it, and been on video games and everything. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to reap any of the benefits of it because we couldn't clear the sample.
Mm.
Universal didn't want to give up the rights to it, so that was one song that we couldn't eat off, but we was allowed to put it on the album. But anywho, for all the producers that sample and stuff, that that's a part of the culture, but it can bite you in your butt for sure, dog. So,
I talked about it
uh,
in my last video for
yeah,
NPC Stems, when
yeah, man,
Sony
it's
UMG
I,
sued
it,
this 20-year-old kid for $800,000. Jesus Lord.
yeah, man.
Woo!
Look, bro, I, I'm trying not to even go there, but right now, So I got a artist that a friend of mine working on the joint right now. Uh, we was like, yo, man, let's get ready to put the song out. But he was talking to he was talking to a buddy of mine. He was talking to a friend of mine that was like, yo, man, he said this joint is crazy, but let's make sure Marv ain't got no samples in this song. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like, man, the same dude that's telling him make sure he ain't got no samples in it, he's going through trying to get a sample cleared that we did on a joint. You know what I'm saying? So and this is Leaf, this is the crazy thing. They got this one song that sample that we trying to clear. Man, I use, I kid you not, bro. I use maybe like a second and some change of a sample. And when they sent the song to they sent the song to the distributor. They eh, for us
A
for
second?
a second and some change, bro. I kid you
That's
not.
trash.
Man, I'm telling you, man. He sent me the emails from the company. It was like, yo, you need to go back and check. We got clearance. So he emailed me like, yo, Marv, you got a clearance on the sample? I'm like, no, man, I'm producing no clear no sample. That's in the contract. Yo, the artist is responsible. He's like, well, man, yo, we got a problem, bro. He said because when they sent it to the distributor, and they like, yo, man, this thing came back with this sample. So that they go back and find a sample. And then me and my guy Trig, we listening to the joint together. And literally, you can't even count the three on your hand. That's how much of a sample I use. You can't even say one, two.
Pause. This what I don't understand. And I'm gonna be totally real. And again, maybe in the future I'm gonna interview, a classic old school artist.
Yeah.
If you are an artist that created something great and legendary, God bless you. But we can all learn the lessons from Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton was like, I made Jolene, I made all this great music. You can sample it. It's a fee. I do my proper business. I don't understand why a lot of artists are not utilizing the opportunity to allow producers to sample, get your money up front, and then you
Right.
can still cake off of the revenue and split some royalties. I don't understand the resistance. We can all
Right.
learn from the lessons from Queen Dolly Parton, who's getting bread now as we speak, especially
Yeah,
with that
man.
Beyonce project release.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and bro, I understand. I understand. I can understand when you've created something and you put your sweat and blood and tears in it. Sweat, blood, and tears in it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, like this is one of the reasons George Clinton is like my number one top five. Uncle George, he keep reinventing himself. You know
Mm-hmm.
why? Because he allowed the young folks to tap in. So it keeps George Clinton is like 82, 83 years old, and he's still relevant in 2024, bro.
And he's super eating, and his kids will eat off of his previous creations.
Yeah, like man, like he talks about in interviews. He said, man, the sampling game was so good. He just made an album just full of samples.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and man, you just be like, man, and that make people want to, make sure, somebody like him eat because he's giving the young folks an opportunity, just to be able to take a bite off of what he did. But literally, man, the sample my guy Trig is trying to clear now, man. Leave, it ain't, man, it ain't even 10 seconds, bro. It's not even 10 seconds. It's almost a one shot. If I'm and it's almost it almost be classified as a one shot, bro.
But
You know what I'm saying?
let me ask you a quick question. You think that you would get in trouble with the distributors if it's almost a one shot? If you just okay, I'm not stealing somebody's chord progression. I'm not stealing somebody's 10-second melodic loop. But if you think you get in trouble if you can just use the chord and put it up under a AU3, they'll still try to get you for that?
Yeah, evidently evidently the company, whatever company that my guy is using, You know what I'm saying? They're not budging on it. They was like, yo, man, we got to clear this. And look, he like we on FaceTime and we both listening to the YouTube joint together. And he was like, man, it's not even a second. I'm like, Trig, that's what I'm telling you. It ain't even that much. You know what I'm saying? So, to all my fellow producers, and I'm sure, I'm sure y'all we know this, man. Just know that, you know, uh, I you just got to be careful, man. You got to be careful. And look, the brunt of it don't fall on the producer because, like, even in my contract, I have it in there saying that, hey, look, the artist is responsible to clear it, but the song is a good song, and it's like, man, that mug is being held up. So, and then Trig was like, yo, well, Marv, can you just go ahead and just replay it? And I went back and replayed it and tried to get that mug almost to right where it was, but it just didn't register like that original joint. It just didn't.
Can I ask you a question? Do you have a backup beat just in case?
Well, so what happened? So what happened? Trig with my man was like, "Yo, man, look, let us work on this, and we're gonna just see where we go because they've already the song has already went through mastering, like the song is
Oh,
done. They've
oh.
recorded it, like
With
it
the
was,
sample?
huh?
With the sample.
With the sample,
Oh.
with the sample,
Well, let me
and
ask you
and
this
and
question.
and, and
Let's
listen,
go.
and,
I'm
and
sorry, real
and
quick.
hold on, let me say this. I forgot. I failed to tell Trig in the beginning, yo, this joint got a sample in it. So that was on me, and and I want to say that to producers when we you work with artists or you sell a track, please, and if it's sample, man, please let them know because I even though Trig, my man and stuff, what I'm saying, I can imagine it's very frustrating that we get all the way to the end and now he can't. Now we at this holding place. You know
Well,
what I'm
let me
saying?
ask,
So
but listen, since I'm a hustler,
yeah,
I'm thinking if you haven't tried this, I'm getting on the plane and talking to I'm flying to the original artist. I'm gonna break down the song idea. I'm breaking down the vision for it because it's not like you talking up, shoot 'em up, bang bang. It's a
yeah.
gospel song, right?
Yeah. It's a Christian hip hop joint. Let me tell you about the Awesome God joint, man. And I'm see we ventured off, but I just want to tell you the struggles when it comes to trying to get these samples clear. So my man Swift, when we did Awesome God, when we did the anthem album, which on that album I did like 7 songs. I pretty much produced the whole album. Uh, Swift had just lost his son.
Mm.
He had just lost his baby boy in the midst of recording this album, right? And so guys over at the label, Cleve and John and Wells, they writing letters. They actually, once we start trying to clear it, they were trying to reach out to Michael W. Smith, which made the song Awesome God popular. So once they found out Michael W. Smith didn't own it, Universal owned it. Now they writing letters and contacting the people over at Universal. And just to your point about flying out and talking to the people, they wrote a letter. They wrote a letter to Universal just saying, "Hey, listen, we would love to be able to use this song." And actually, what we did, we act. So if you listen to the song, they got some little girls singing on the song. My guy that actually engineered the song, he brought some little girls from out the neighborhood that went to church with him to come in and sing the Our God. So
Mm.
everything is originally played on there. Like like I did all of the synth, the drums. My boy, he did a lead guitar on the end of it. You know what I'm saying? And we had these little girls came in and just resung it. So there's no sampling in it. We just replayed it to the T. And so
The
we
equivalent of a cover song. The equivalent of a cover song.
yes. So the label write a song that they write a letter to Universal saying, "Hey, listen, man, we want to really use this song. This song is very important to the artist Swift. Or Swift, man, he had just lost his son, and it's about just how God is being awesome, even him losing his son in the midst of writing his album. And them jokers still said no.
They said, we don't care about Jesus. We
We
want
don't,
our coin.
man,
That's exactly what they said.
nothing. And so the response was, okay, you can use this on the album, but we want 100% of this particular of that song. We was able to put it on the album, but this song we're going to get 100% of this song. So then they went back and tried to negotiate again, and they was not budging, bro. They wanted all 100% of the publishing, the royalties to that joint. So
Beats
we
by
had to get on.
Lonze said, I'd stem that vocal out and take the sample out.
Lonzo, there was no sample in it. That was we had got the little girls to sing. We had got some girls from the neighborhood just to sing it. There was no sample.
I think he's referring to the one shot song that you're still
Oh,
trying to
he talking about this other joint. Yeah. Well, man, look, it might giving me a headache thinking about it. But anyway, so what happened? The label, they got all of us on the phone, and it was like, well, no, well, actually, I didn't get on the phone with him. I had a manager at that time, so they was back. So Reef, he was back and forth with the label, and he was like, "Yo, Marv, look, so this is the deal. Universal ain't budging, but they're gonna allow us to put it on the album. We could put it on the album. The only way people can hear the song, they got to get the album." And at that time, people was buying albums on iTunes. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no iTunes music. There was just straight up iTunes. There was no subscription. So if you wanted the album, if you wanted that in that case, if you wanted the song, you had to purchase the album. So
real quick, I'm sorry, from a royalty rate. So again, for the producers that don't
Mhm.
know, this is pre-streaming talk, mind you. This is pre-subscription talk.
Yeah.
So as a producer, they get 100% of the publishing rights, right? The label, excuse me, as a label, they get 100% of the publishing rights, but they allow you to have the song on an album that a person can purchase.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to production, what are your royalties off of the purchased digital copy of that, even if they took the 100% of the publishing?
That was nothing. That's how stiff and cold Universal was, bro. On that particular song, and guess what? And if they would have just gave me my if I would have just got my standard, well, at that time it was 3-4%. In what 2008, 2009, you know what I'm saying? If it had just been that standard, and if they had allowed us to eat, boy, that would have been some good money, bro. But them jokers were, yeah, exactly. But them jokers was stiff, bro. I mean, and I was just like, that was a prime example to tell me that showed me Christian industry, secular industry. It is an industry, bro. It is an industry straight up, and they didn't budge, and and that song went on to be on soccer games, and
so you can't get no sync, no nothing,
nothing, bro, nothing,
Jesus,
nothing, bro.
That would have inspired me. That would have
Nada.
inspired me to make like 100 tracks just to make up for the pain of enduring not getting any publishing.
Nada, bro.
My feelings been hurt, super hurt,
man. And man, and it was so many times. There was so many times, and then I want to say that album right now is probably 10 years old. That song is 10 years old, and it still get played on on satellite radio. Like it's still getting played. I remember last year I was on a school conference with my kids, and we picked up the rental car, happened to put the satellite radio on, and we ride down the highway. And I'm like, yo, that's my song on the radio. It can't get a piece of it at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, since we spoke about a lot of pre-stream era from a producer standpoint,
Yeah.
here's my last question, because I think it'll be beneficial to any producer that watches this and all the producers that are watching this. A big shout out to Beats by Lonze, big shout out to Civil Days Music, big shout out to Digger Hertz, big shout out to every producer watching this.
Yeah.
How are you as a producer who was getting money pre-streaming era? How has the adjustment been to functioning in a full-fledged production business in this streaming era where a lot of artists are now saying, I rather work direct to fan with my exchanges versus relying on streaming. From a producer standpoint, how have you adjusted your business model in this predominantly streaming era?
Man, man, it's definitely been a uphill battle, and so there was a couple of adjustments that I had to make. Even from being a producer, then venturing off into sound designing. So let me just start off with the producer aspect. So once the streaming came into place, that hindered, that messed up a lot of artists. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then there wasn't no out the trunk selling no CDs anymore, which that is coming back slowly but surely, man. I am rooting for that all the way. That physical CDs. We was at a concert maybe about a month ago, and the artist, he was, man, he back selling physical CDs. I thought that was dope. But anyway,
And
so
vinyl's getting super huge too. So vinyl is
yeah,
really huge.
yeah, it is, man. It's crazy to see how that, you know, well, and the Bible said, there ain't nothing new under the sun, and that, it always swing back around. But anyway, um, when that shift came, of course, artists, especially when you're dealing with a lot of indie artists, you know what I'm saying, they out of the pocket, so they trying to cut back too, you know what I'm saying. So with them cutting back and trying to navigate, and then, and I say this, and I don't say this with disgust, but it really hurt us as producers when the change came with when the streaming service came in. Lease beats came in too,
Also,
and
you're not for lease beats.
you know what? I am. I was very a diehard back in the day. Like, no, 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 don't do it. But I know I know guys that are doing six figures easy with lease beats. So I definitely have my mind. My attitude has definitely changed about it, because if that's how you're able to if this is feeding your family, man, I can't do them a respect the hustle. But when it
Mhm.
first came out, I was opposed to it, because it just, I couldn't understand. I didn't understand it when it first came out. Uh, I always looked at it as like a degrade, but I understood that those particular producers was getting ahead of the curve, because they seen. I mean, now artists got to figure out to do something, because they're not making the money that they have to do. They're not making the money that they're used to. They're not getting that physical money. They're not getting that them royalties from from TuneCore, because there was no DistroKid at the time. When TuneCore and CD Baby was out. You
And
know what I'm
by the
saying? But
way,
once,
as of April 1st, Spotify put the thing in where you're not going to get paid if you don't have 1,000 streams. And
man, it's
now
crazy,
I
bro.
saw this week that
Yeah,
DistroKid is going through payment issues where a lot of people are not getting paid in general for their
yeah,
streams. So for
yeah,
all the producers watching this, stay on the DSP watch
yeah,
and listen. I'm a big Bandcamp promoter. I
yeah.
promote Bandcamp. Why? You get your customer information, which is the
Hmm.
email address, their name and their address, and then you can retain it for your email newsletter, and you can
Yeah,
sell direct to them, pay their little PayPal fee and Bandcamp fee, and you get the money up front. Sidebar, continue. I'm sorry.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, you know, so for me, particularly for me, I said, well, at that time, I was opposed to lease beast. So I said, well, you know, artists wasn't readily coughing up for three 250, per track at the time, because they was hurting.
Hmm.
So what I did, leave. I start transitioning more into sound designing, right?
Hmm.
And shout out to AG, because when I was working for Machine Masters, and AG was like, "Yo, man, you ought to start trying to make some kits or whatever." I'm like, "AG, I said, man, I can't do that." He was like, "Man, I bet you can, man." He was like, "The way your drums and stuff hit, and you be doing them bass lines and stuff, man, you'll kill it." So So I gave it a shot, man, and then I started, and so that was my way of being able to transition from not from from losing compensation on the artist, from the artist standpoint, because the artist was trying to figure it out, but thank God, I just had the courage to be able to get into the sound designing, and the sound designing, it sustained to me, man. I started out with the marvelous breaks, then I went into the marvelous
Mm-hmm.
break series, then I went into the marvelous loops. And man, let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. You're talking about at that at that time, you had like Ill Minds, you had Frank Dukes. They was like the main, they was like the top dogs. You know what I'm saying? In the sample making, the loop making, the sample making, it wasn't saturated, and everybody couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a thing, bro. It was very unique. You know what I'm saying? When it first came out, you know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, man, I can't do what these dudes are doing. You know what I'm saying? These dudes are unique. And AG, man, he was like, you can do it, bro. And man, I'm gonna tell you, bro, when I started doing them kids, man, it was a beautiful time, man. You talking about, bro, I was able to pay my mortgage with one kit. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Once you get that payout, man, it was beautiful. But then you had Splice and you had sounds.com that come in and mess up the game once
Well,
again.
sounds.com, I don't think exists anymore, does it?
No, they don't. They couldn't hang with Splice.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't hang with Splice, man. My man All True West, he was the recruiter for Sounds, and he actually tried to get me to come over. I just couldn't get with the process of it. But when those two companies came in on the scene, bro, it messed the game up. It messed the game up, bro. I feel my heart break even when I think about it right now, uh, because it came in as a subscription base. Like you can pay $7.99 and get 100 credits and get 100 samples for $7.99. Well, do the math. Who's gonna pay 30? That's who's gonna pay $30 for 12 compositions.
Well,
Now you got
here,
now
hold
you
on.
got your diehards. I got
Here's
my diehards that'll roll with me.
here's my counterpoint. And I always use cooking and production. I think they're synonymous. I'm a big cook.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you cook, are you a cook or no?
I get down. I do my fair share of cooking at the crib.
There is no frills spice racks, and there's those expensive ass smoked paprikas, expensive ass spike racks that to make
Right.
your food taste great.
Yep.
I grew up in a
Yeah.
West Indian community. When it comes
Yeah.
to getting Jamaican spices and herbs,
Yeah. Yeah.
they are more expensive because they're more flavorful. So
Right.
that goes to packs. I
Right.
design, I'm a sound designer.
Right.
And I always say it may be oversaturated, but nobody got my type of curry. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. Right.
nobody got
And
my
and
type of smoked paprika.
right. And Khalif, that is true. And when I do put out a kit, you know what I'm saying? I do, people be like, yo, man, I've been waiting. I've been waiting. But I think for me, man, because I do all my kits on myself. Let me tell you about and for me, I can't speak for no other sound designer, but it takes a lot, man. I have to get like when I prepare for a kit, I have to put myself in a space. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I'm known for all my kits are like 70 soul stuff. So I have to mentally be in the place. I have to mentally go back to when I'm sitting in the room with my dad when my dad was there, and we sitting in there, and I'm going. He's allowing me to go through his record collection, and I had my little Tonka toy radio, and he taught me how
Oh
to,
wow.
put
I
the
remember
records
those. Yeah.
on the turntable. I have to go back to I have to go back to these mental places. It's to say all that. I'm saying all that is it takes a lot mentally
Hmm.
to
And
get
I'm
into that
glad you said
space.
that. I'm glad you said it because people think sound design is just whipping things out. We have
No,
to
man, it's not.
study. We got to study. We got to set our daily schedule routine. Then we got to
Right.
give ourselves deadlines. Then we got to
Yes.
have our trial and error sounds. People don't never
Yes.
talk about this.
Right. And man, and so, you in all those things you said, you have to, and then me, I'm making sure, okay, I got to make sure this kit don't sound nothing like this past kit. You know what I'm saying? And everything just got to be different. So what Spice coming in and doing what they doing, man, it just got discouraging. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, man, and I'm putting the time and the energy in it, and you're not making that. You weren't making the bread that I was making, that you was making prior to. So, I think it was just more of a burnout for me. I had been contemplating doing it, doing another one, but I know, you know, now I'll have to start almost ground zero because you know, from the time that I put out my last kit, you can probably have 50 other sound designers that have popped on the scene. You
Yeah,
know
but
what I'm saying?
but again, in New York, we got 5 boroughs.
Yeah,
Everybody knows there's that one borough that you have
yeah,
to drive for an hour to get that good Italian food. There's that
yeah,
one borough that you have to drive an hour to get some good Dominican or Puerto Rican food, but we will drive the distance for the quality of flavor. So
right.
again, I'm not putting sauce on it. It is what it is. There are a million sound designers, but everybody it will go to their restaurant of choice. Like we always say this in New York. New York got two things
Hmm.
everywhere. Everywhere. Two types of places to eat that if you go to New York, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
New York has a million pizza shops and New York has a million Chinese restaurants, right?
Hmm.
But everybody got their one and they don't mess with no other place. So
Yeah.
when it comes to sound design, and I'm saying this to everybody, the sound designers and yourself and myself included, I always know I got my flavors. There's a
Right.
ton of pizza shops, but their crust ain't my crust. There's a ton of
Right.
sound packs that
That's true.
splice, but their sound is not my sound,
Right.
and things of that nature. And I want you to be very encouraged because not only, yes, you've made previous impact, but it's new level, new thing. Like in my mind, I'm thinking in my head, he's produced all this great stuff. He has great beats. I would be sinking my life away, meeting with sync agents and syncing all my tracks.
Yeah, man. That's been the direction that I am trying to turn into, man. I've been, trying to get towards to. I got a buddy of mine from out of Florida. He has a TV series called Backstreet, and it's on Amazon Prime and it's on Tubi right now. But with the second season, he reached out to me to do a lot of scoring for it. So that's a big thing that I'm looking forward to,
Yeah,
and
because
looking
I'd be
to see what
scoring
can.
my butt off if I was you. Because you have a palette. You
Yeah,
again, I always talk when I talk to producers. I'm a producer,
yeah,
and when you listen to other producers, we admire style, right?
yeah, yeah.
You have a palette. I tell my friend Days Music all the time. He has a style.
Right,
I have a style, and guess what styles are? Styles are scores. If
right,
you watch The Godfather, score. Scarface,
right,
score. Rom
right.
com, score. Cartoon, score.
Yeah.
And people made fun of me when I was a kid. I like listening to the Ninja Scrolls anime soundtrack back in the days because it
Wow.
had a score.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
had score. I love Christopher Nolan movies because it has a fire score.
Right.
So I encourage you, and I'm not gonna lie. Woo! This is the edification hour with Marv4MoBeats because you literally hit so many angles, and there are a lot of producers going to be helped and encouraged. Not only producers who don't have money for like a $2,500 MPC
Right.
that want to start somewhere, don't
Right.
realize that the Beatmaker 3 app is like what $20 right now, $25 or something like that.
Yeah, it's
And
under $30, man. It's under $30, and we look, we've been almost on 2 hours, but it's been good.
of
It's been all.
great conversation, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. And look, when time fly when you're having fun, because we ain't real. I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, it's like an hour and 40, hour 50 minutes. But you know, I guess I want to say too, man. Um, I'm grateful that I've been able to be one of those guys that kind of help pave the way. and just to be able to, mainly just to be able to, prove, I think I've been able to prove what I what I started out in the beginning, that, you know, the iPad, using the iPad, man, it don't matter what you use, man. When I first started out, my first drum machine, which I still have, I just keep it as a memory piece. I started out with a Yamaha RY20.
Wow.
It was a rhythm programmer. You know what I'm saying?
I
Uh,
remember those names, the rhythm programmers.
yeah, it
Yes.
was a rhythm programmer, and then I got off into the Yamaha MR1, and started understanding with MIDI, and started syncing up, keyboards, and got into the role in the Boss 505. I mean the SP 505 and the SP 202, and you just, it don't matter what you use, bro. You know what I'm
Bro.
saying? It's all about the creativity, and all creativity come from God the Father, man. I'm a true believer of that. Joker can, and I'm not just saying this as a cliche, but you got a guy that actually put out a drum kit beating on the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, making beats on the table. Like, it doesn't even matter what you use. But I'm glad that I was just happened to be in the right place in the right time, and was able to be on the right platforms to be able to show that uh the iPad is a real production tool. You know what I'm saying? And it stands up. It stands up to the NPCs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm not big on competing and stuff, but I'll go neck and neck with somebody with an NPC. You know what I'm
Brother, we've heard.
saying?
That's what, listen. Anytime you ever in your life will doubt yourself in my presence, I'll run your own track in your face and prove that it ain't that, bro. Like it was like,
Yeah,
what he said? What? I go up against any NPC. Oh,
yeah,
somebody says
man.
no, he can't.
I stand behind it. I got
I'll just shut him up with that. I'll just play it.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
just shut him up. I'll just shut him up with the facts. Beats by Lines, they said, appreciate all you both do. Salute, man. Appreciate you, fam.
man.
Appreciate you,
Likewise,
fam.
brother. Yes,
Listen,
sir.
brother, it has been a magnificent conversation. I'm going to talk to you
Yeah,
for a little bit after this because we both got families and stuff like that. But
yeah, yeah.
everybody, please, all Marv for more beats is the information is in my description. His website where you can please invest in his kits. Invest
Thank
in
you.
his kits and,
Thank
and,
you.
and run the streams up on his beat tape. Support indie music producers doing
Yeah,
their thing.
man. Yes.
Thank you, brother, so much for coming on my platform. It's been a
Yes, sir.
blessing.
Thank you for
Everybody,
having
please,
me, bro.
no problem. It's a blessing. Big shout to everybody that was in the chat. If you want to support my brand so I can do more Making Better Track show, either hit me in, there it is. Wait, hold on. KaleafWins, Dazana KaleafWins and Cash App, or hit me in the description and support my show because I'm trying to do bigger and better things. Flying out to meet Marv for more beats. Go and see his tracks and things of that nature in his
Yep.
studio. We need
Yes,
to
sir.
support independent producers. Thank you so much, Marv. I will talk to you after this. Everybody
Yeah.
have a great day tomorrow to make better tracks. I'm your host, KaleafWins. It's a blessing. Please support Marv in the description. Thank you so much, brother, for joining
Thank
the
you.
stream.
Thank you, bro.
No
Thank you,
problem,
man.
man.